Hi, and welcome to Pentecost Sunday. Welcome to getting ready for Pentecost Sunday. I'm sorry I forgot to wear red to get ready for this, to get you in the mood too, but here we go. This is going to be a 2-for-1 kind of worship service because the place we're at in our Mark studies this Sunday doesn't exactly match the season of the church year that we're in, which is Pentecost. So the visuals are going to be a mixture of Pentecost and Mark, with the big pictures that we made a few weeks ago being up front of Mark, being the suffering servant of God, being blessed by God. And then the visuals are going to be candles and colors and flowers, and the clothes people are wearing will be red and the flame colors. So that's what you're going to be seeing when you come in. And the worship at the beginning is going to be about Pentecost. And then I'm going to try to weave Pentecost into the story that we have in Mark from Mark 2:13-17, which is the story of Levi, also Matthew, being called by Jesus as a disciple. So, as I was studying this passage, thinking about what hit me, I thought that might be the best way for you as teachers to begin thinking about how to teach this, because my guess is that whatever strikes you as interesting out of this passage or important is what you'll teach best. What you are curious about as you read it is going to be what you'll help the class be curious about, and what you'll be able to pull something out of for a conversation that will be meaningful to them and make a difference in their lives. So I would just encourage you to do the same thing I do in preparing for a sermon, which is to read the passage over and over and over until something jumps out at you. But I'd also be willing to share with you what is going to jump out at what's been jumping out at me and what I'm hoping to plan the sermon around. The first thing that kept hitting me was the very last verse, actually, which was when Jesus saw them complaining about Levi, who was a sinner, a scum. He said that healthy people don't need a doctor, sick people do. I have come to call not those who think they are righteous, but those who know they are sinners. And so that's the part that I'm going to spend some time on, and that you might give your class a chance to talk about too. How sick are we? Who are we in need of God? Or how much do we need God? And maybe even ask them to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. How much or how often, how much of your lives are you aware of your need for God, and what kind of things help you know that? I'm also fascinated by the change that Levi made in his life from his social and financial status, which was very high in one sense, but very low in the sense of his Jewish people that didn't respect his job of collecting taxes. And you might invite people to think about that too. How much would we be willing to give up, like Matthew did, to follow this Christ? He changed everything about his life. The first 4 people that were called by God, by Jesus, to be disciples were fishermen. That's something they could keep doing as they followed Jesus. The job that Levi had wasn't something that he could keep doing. He couldn't keep stealing from people as well as collect taxes. And so he made the biggest change so far of all the disciples. And I just think that's something that's worth thinking about further. How much are we willing to give up and change? And then another thing that this is only Thursday, so I'm not sure how this is going to work into my sermon yet, but I'd like to fit something about the party that Levi has, and that the Pharisees in verse 16 say they saw him eating with tax collectors and other sinners, and asked Jesus' disciples, why does Jesus eat with such scum? Like, who are those scum, and who would that be if we were invited? Would we go? Would we be the scum? Would we be who people around us consider being the scum? And how judgmental are we when we see other people that we consider to be bigger sinners than ourselves? And how much mercy and love can we call into this story that Jesus was obviously able to give to Levi and the people that were at the party that the Pharisees were calling scum?